welcome everybody to our fantastic Pulsebeat podcast, where every single week we bring you some of the most amazing guests. And this session is not going to disappoint. You're going to walk away and go, wow, what in the world is going on with Cardio Miracle now? This is a story that you won't forget. This is a story that you're going to share with your loved ones and those that maybe not even have ever heard of it before. But this is the depth and the beauty of using the Cardio Miracle product and how it has changed this gentleman's life and his family's. And of course, we have with us Mr. Josh Hewlett, who is the son of our founder, and he is doing wonderful things, taking the message of Cardio Miracle, healing the hearts of mankind to international markets and to each and every one of you every single day. So, hey, Josh, how's it going?
I'm doing so well, Lisa. Thank you so much for the kind introduction, the kind words, and thank you for all that you're doing and the incredible people that you're getting us in front of. It's just been so amazing to be able to spread the word and be able to help as many lives as we can.
Oh, thank you, Josh. You know what I always say, though? We can tell people all day long about something, but if it doesn't work, it doesn't go any farther. And that's what's happening with Cardio Miracle. I mean, we are seeing these literal changes in lives that many people will call a miracle. We're going to hear from this amazing gentleman, Mr. Mark Young. There he is, taking his shot of Cardio Miracle over there. I had the opportunity to visit with him in Branson. We actually did we did 3 television shows when we were there. And that was really exciting because the message of what you've been going through and how the Cardio Miracle has been helping you, I believe is absolutely groundbreaking. Number one, we know, and we always set the stage for the issue, right? The challenge, and then we give you the solution. Guys, the challenge right now is that we are seeing epidemic proportions of brain disorders and brain dysfunctions. Of course, we don't treat, cure, or diagnose, but when you hear from this gentleman and hear what he has gone through, what he's been trying to work through on a daily basis, and when he found the Cardio Miracle product and how it worked for him, you're going to want to share it with absolutely everybody you know. So welcome, Mr. Mark.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Josh.
So tell everybody a little bit about, your background.
Well, I retired at the age of 65, and I was an electrician for 28 years. And basically, that's just about all I know how to do. So I just kind of sat down. I didn't have to get up and go to work anymore, sleep late every day like I always dreamed about. But with everything in this life, there is a price. Now, I want to tell you that in my family, my mom's parents both passed away due to complications due to dementia and Alzheimer's. My dad passed away in 2018 from the same thing, and so did his dad at the age of 89. So I'm not fully convinced that dementia is genetic. I mean, it may be like blood pressure or high blood sugar. Certain people might have, I think, like a higher susceptibility to it. But that's my own thought. Anyway, so I came home, and I remember the day last winter. I was watching TV, and I remember thinking, if something doesn't happen pretty quick, it's not going to be too long before you're totally dependent on Becky, my wife, Becky. And we went to the Jim Baker show down in Branson in April, and she talked to Mondo about me and Pastor Jim and everything that had been going on. And we came home and ordered Cardio Miracle. And I mean, we bought the big bag, the 180 serving, because Mondo said, okay, what you probably want to do is get Mark on it for 6 times a day, maybe for 3 weeks or a month, and then kind of graduate it down. So that's what I did. In the first 3 days, I felt like Popeye in the old cartoons when he eats his spinach and he gets that that power boost. I felt energized. And at 5 days, I had two things happen. One is that I could think again. I could think again and have thoughts, and I felt like I had Superman laser vision. I mean, I thought it felt like if I stared at a 3-inch piece of plate steel, like I could burn a hole through it with my focus. I mean, that's how it felt. The other thing was I got a memory. I hadn't had a memory for months, and I kind of was a zombie. My wife would say, "Hey, we're going out with our friends tonight for supper." Okay. And 20 minutes later, I'd ask her, "What are we having for supper?" So she'd wait until the appropriate time in the afternoon and say, "Mark, go get a shower. I'll lay your clothes out for you. You get out of the shower, get dressed." Okay. So I'd do that, go in. We'd wait until 20 minutes or half an hour before our friends were supposed to come. Say, "Okay, put your shoes on, go to the bathroom if you have to. We're going to leave in a little bit." Okay. And that's how it is. That's how it was with me. It's like if you have an office computer and you have the tower and you have to push the button and then you start your monitor and it boots up and you log in and you do your stuff, you write your book or your speech and you return messages and phone calls and things. But it's like all of a sudden the mouse is disconnected, the extra CD, DVD drive is disconnected, the speaker, the microphone, the camera is disconnected, and finally somebody pulls the plug on the monitor and the keyboard. So at that point, does the tower still work? Does the computer drive itself still function? And the answer is yes. How do you know?
So Josh, think about this for a minute, what Mark is saying, because I want everybody to understand. He said in 3 days, he started remembering things like his short-term memory. In 5 days, he had some of his older memories back that he didn't have before then. I mean, how do you even articulate this to the average person? Because it sounds so like out there. But these are things that happen every single day with Cardio Miracle. And I'm so excited that we're able to be in this place to hear his story, and he's going to share it with millions of people. But can you imagine? I mean, I get frustrated if I forget something. I can't imagine if on a daily basis, especially after working in that environment, and coming home and just kind of vegging out, and now your wife is telling you where to take a shower and put your pants on. I mean, to go from that to making trips and traveling and have your memory back, your old memories, and then again your long-term memory and your short-term memory. I mean, Josh, this is absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, and be able to articulate for sure. But that was one of the best things about, starting where I started in the company was making phone calls and talking to the customers. And I've spoken to well over half of our, over 50,000 customer base, and being able to speak to them and hearing these stories and hearing the success stories and having people say that they have their life back and they're remembering things that they did when they were younger. I mean, it's short-term memory loss, long-term memory loss. Like they're getting these thoughts back. It's unbelievable. And it's so fun to be able to have that extra blood flow so that you can recall those things and you can have that cognitive function back. It's an amazing discovery and amazing product, obviously. So that's why it's called the miracle, right? Cardio Miracle.
You got it. Now,
Amen.
Josh, you had something similar with your when you started discovering that you had,
Yeah,
some lesions on your brain or what have you, correct?
I did. Oh yeah, yeah. When in 2009 I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. They said I had 27 lesions on my brain, and this is why my dad, John Hewlett, started me on another nitric oxide company. It was with another nitric oxide product. It was an inferior product, and he wanted to make it more effective, better, and more deliverable. Have the nitric oxide last longer, and yeah, I was taking this nitric oxide product as well as other products for 6 months straight, very aggressive. And 6 months later, they told me I had 0 lesions on my brain, and that it must have been a dirty lens on the MRI machine. So that's I I don't share that very often, but it's definitely something that has given me, I feel like, given me my life back. So it's incredible.
Amen. So you could connect with Mark when you're talking about, brain disorders and so
Oh
on.
yeah.
So Mark, what is it now? Now I know being an electrician, because I always look for, what are the causes behind some of the challenges people are having, and how do we take care of the root cause, right? So you, thank goodness, you're not in that environment where you're working with heavy metals. You're working with copper and aluminum on a daily basis for hour after hour after hour. And
And
now here we
plastic.
are. You're retired. You're starting to enjoy life, right?
Yep, absolutely. Um, I wanted to share with you. I said it 5 days. At 5 days, 2 things happened. The one was that I could think again, and I was starting to get memories back. The very first memory I got, the very first one, and it was like somebody dumping a bucket of ice water on me when it's 100 degrees outside. November 17th, 1978. And I think it was a Thursday, might have been a Friday. Cold winter day in north central Iowa when I was going to community college for broadcasting. I can tell you it was 3 minutes to 4 o'clock. I can tell you that there was probably a 10 to 15 mile an hour wind, and it was pretty cold that day. It was probably 10 or 15 below zero. Snow drifts around the parking lot were somewhere between 2.5 and 4.5 feet tall, and I had to go into the broadcasting building, the building where the broadcast facilities were, to get some things done. Now, the funny thing was, and we all remember births, deaths, weddings, our first date, our first kiss, our first love, our first car, like that. Do you know what happened on November 17th, 1978? Nothing. It was just an ordinary day at college. Nothing happened. Nothing. And I haven't thought about that day probably since that day. But now I can remember that day. And God bless you guys at Cardio Miracle, Josh and Lisa and John and the whole team. I got my miracle from God, and it came via my wife Becky, first and foremost, and the folks like Mondo de la Vega and Ricky Baker at the Jim Baker Show, and ultimately John and Josh Hewlett at Cardio Miracle. And that's
right.
That's a fact.
Mark, we talked about on the show how embarrassing it. We had talked about how embarrassing it is when you started losing your memory and didn't want to admit it. I believe there's a lot of people out there that might be forgetting their car keys, might be, and then you become paralyzed with fear about, you were concerned about being a burden to your wife and your family. And so we're speaking to those people out there. If you know somebody that is having challenges in the early stages of just not being able to remember, maybe they have stress brain. Dr. Judy calls it COVID brain. I mean, so many people are having a difficult time remembering. And when we can't remember who we are. So, and who we have become. So memories are critically important to our essence, our true essence of who we are. So the fact that we can offer them a solution. And I think there's another thing that you said was really important. 6 scoops a day. Josh, I know we run into people all the time that say, hey, I've been taking 1 or 2 scoops a day and I'm not meeting my goals.
Yeah.
So,
and forgetting sometimes too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's why John wanted to improve this product. That's why he wanted to create Cardio Miracle, is because when I was taking this other product, I was taking a serving every hour of every day.
Wow.
And that's how aggressive I was being in 2009. And so now with Cardio Miracle, I take 2 servings twice a day. That's for me because I'm 6'3", I'm 300 pounds. I'm a big guy. I've got a lot of muscle mass. I go work out. I told you before we started, I walk an average of 21,000 steps a day. I mean, I'm an active guy. And so I love having the hydration. I love having the blood flow. And so I take 2 servings twice a day personally. But yeah, for people that need more of a benefit, 2, 4, 6, whatever servings they can take, it's going to help them. Like my future father-in-law, I'm getting married in October. He takes 2 servings twice a day, but now he's not able to absorb sodium or have it help his electrolytes. So I challenged him to take 3 servings twice a day, and he started, and now he's starting to feel a lot better and feel more hydration. And it's you got to kind of feel it, and what you have to be in tune with what your body needs, and everybody's going to be different.
Well, and you bring up some really good points, Josh, because the average person, depending on body weight and circumstance, I am still at 4 to 6 scoops a day. On a day that I don't have a lot going on, I do 4. On a day that I'm traveling and, might be forced to eat food that is not my regular diet, I take 6. Yeah. And if you're walking through an airport, you know that there isn't good food around. So, we do our very best. We take that Cardio Miracle because we're just talking about live, living food. And if the body gets what it needs on a daily basis, the body's going to respond positively. And when we heard Dr. Avery talk about, how it crosses a blood-brain barrier and helps the brain activity, how exciting that is. And because we have a lot of chemicals that cross the blood-brain barrier. And so we need to detox the brain from that as well. So again, how exciting that your life has transformed, Mark, into this place right now where you are able to make trips with your wife. She doesn't have to tell you to take a shower. You remember all these wonderful things. Congratulations. I can't imagine what that must be like for you.
Well, and I have to reiterate something that Josh said. We tried another product and from another company, and I won't say the name of the company or the product, but the product worked. The problem was it was so harsh taste-wise in your system. That's all you tasted all day long after you took it, and that's such a negative factor. And Cardio Miracle, you don't get that. My wife Becky likes hers.
No, it tastes so good.
In fruit punch. I drink mine just in water. Our daughter Wendy, she likes hers in lemon propel water. I've had it in iced tea. It's great. It just tastes like a fruit flavored iced tea. So there's so much that I want to say. And we're so limited on time that I can't say it all. But folks, buy it, give it an honest chance. You live in your body, so you know what your body's doing. You know what your body needs, right? It's your body. You've been living in it. It's your house. I mean, just like Jesus said in the Bible, I will tear this house down and raise it back up in 3 days. My house, So try the Cardio Miracle, give it an honest chance, because they're finding microplastics in people's brains and all the chemicals and the drugs and things. And now with all the GMO foods, you go buy seeds at the store to plant a garden. Well, let's say you buy muskmelon. So you plant the seeds. Well, so you grow muskmelons that year, but you can't save those seeds and replant them because they won't grow because they're genetically modified. And that's all that gets into the system. And just my feeling, but when you start monkeying with nature, things happen. It just the food that we get. When I was a kid, we gardened. I mean, we gardened all the time and put up chickens and raised our own beef and traded a half of beef for part of a homegrown hog. Have fresh meat, fresh fruits and vegetables, things that were not jacked up and changed and modified, and because that's not the way God wants us to be. That's not what your body needs, all that stuff.
So Josh, what he was saying, what I think is what was another really good point I want to make sure that people understand is there are people out there trying to eat as perfect as possible. We all know those people, and they're still ending up with some intermittent health challenges. Well, even if you are one of those people, still incorporate the Cardio Miracle into your diet, because Josh, over 700 nutrients in over 58 ingredients. I mean, even if you shopped at the local marketplace, or even if you grew your own food, it'd be very difficult. We can't grow pomegranate. We can't, the different places where your father has put the hand chosen each ingredient in the product, they all have specific pathways, as Dr. Judy will talk about. How exciting it is that we have a product for every body. Doesn't matter where you are at. The nutrients will meet you and fulfill those deficits that we have in our body. We're all not working at peak performance because our body's always under fire.
Totally. I was talking to someone yesterday, and I said we did a test on Cardio Miracle to see how effective it was, and how Tadeusz Malinsky was doing the test, and he came to John and he said, "What if it doesn't work?" And John said, "I want to know." And he said, "How have you put this together? What kind of chemist degree do you have? Like, what kind of chemistry lab are you working in?" And John's like, I'm not a chemist. I put this together with putting 1 and 1 together, putting 2 and 2 together, and figuring that these would go together well with my research and with everybody I've spoken to and the doctors and scientists, and the guy was just dumbfounded how John was able to put this formulation together, and how we've been able to do, to help so many people throughout the 10 years that we've been in business. And so that is definitely, God had a hand in this 100%, because we're dealing with whole and organic fruits and vegetables that have come from the earth, which is so exciting.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, it tastes great. That's another entrance to barrier that a lot of people run into. They might think something is really good for them, but if you can't get it down without puking, right, it's pretty difficult for it to be effective. Right. But it tastes so great. Anything else that you'd like to share with our viewers, Mark?
Yes, a couple of things. First of all, I don't know if you can see it on camera. You see this? You can't see it real well. When I went down to Jim Baker's in April, before I started taking Cardio Miracle, I was ready for the turtle wax and a shine job on top. There was nothing there. I have hair growing there now. My body and my brain are not
Wow.
40 years old again yet, but my nose is. I have smelled things that I haven't smelled for years. The other point I want to make, and
Wow.
I feel like this is a truly outstanding point. How much is your brain worth? I mean, straight up. It's not a philosophical question. It's not a trick question. How much is your brain worth? Is it worth $50 a month? Is your brain worth $100 a month, or $300 or $500? Because I have to tell you, from personal experience, I don't want to be a zombie, and that's in effect what you
Yes.
are. And with what happened to me, basically I was a zombie. I still look like Mark Young. I'm still got the same tell the same bad dad jokes and sense of humor, but I have no memory. I can't get any information into my brain, and I can't get anything out of my brain. So it's just the moment. Sit down and watch, let's say, MASH, the old TV show MASH, on TV. And there was a time my wife banned me from watching it because I could do all the lines from all the characters from all the episodes, right? I could sit down and watch. Yeah, Josh knows what I'm talking about. It's a guy thing. I could sit down and watch an episode of MASH and not know the names of the characters or the actors. And when it got to the end of the
Wow.
episode, not know what the setup was that started the whole string of events that they went through the show with, right? Okay, so that's my story. That's the best part of it. I have two more stories to tell, and I'll try and make this real short. My wife Becky is allergic to everything. We live in central Iowa, so naturally Becky's allergic to corn, mold, and yeast, right? 3 weeks ago now, we went out and we trimmed branches and things over by the driveway, in the tree line, the fence line. They're both kind of the same thing now on property lines. Because with low-hanging branches and vision getting out of the driveway, get issues like that. So we went and trimmed branches and hauled away 3 pickup truck loads of branches and limbs and things. You think, well, that's not a big deal.
Wow.
Okay, here's the thing. On any given day, spring, summer, or fall, all Becky has to do is walk out there into the driveway, and there's enough poison ivy, poison oak, poison sumac, stinging nettles, that kind of stuff in the air. The next day, she would be in agony and look like she had bathed in a tub full of the stuff. We went out and took 3 loads out of here of branches and things, and she got poison ivy or oak or sumac or whatever in several places, and I did too. Took us about a week to get over it, right? That's miracle number 2, folks, and that ain't hay. The third miracle is our niece Sarah. Sarah's a nurse, and she was a nurse through COVID. So I don't even have to tell you what that means. If you want to keep your job, you know what you got to do. She said it had gotten to the point where she had severe brain fog. And I asked her, after she started taking Cardio I said, describe the severity of your brain fog. And she said, Uncle Mark, she said, in the wintertime in Iowa, when there's a raging blizzard and you have to go somewhere at night and you drive in the car and you can't see past the hood of the car because there's snowflakes and to you they look like they're about the size of a 50-cent piece and the darkness, and that's all you can see. Or a pea soup fog. Can't see anything. Can't hardly see past the end of the hood of your car. She said, that's how my thinking was getting to be. He said, as a nurse, she said, I can't have that. But I can't. She started taking Cardiomiracle and said the same thing that I did. At 3 days, she got her Popeye supercharge, and at 5 days, brain fog went away. Yeah. So 3 miracles.
Amazing.
Three that are a fact, not just truth. Truth and fact, I think, go hand in hand most of the time, but they are not inherently the same thing. Fact is what you can physically prove. Pictures, photographs, motion picture, audio recordings, multiple eyewitness testimony, or duplicatable scientific experimentation like the folks at Cardiomiracle have done in putting this stuff away. You know, I just, folks, buy Cardiomiracle and try it. I don't want you to have an issue. I don't want you to have leaky heart valve,
right,
or diabetes, or megalomania, super gigantic blood pressure, or whatever it is, you know, or any other issues with your blood in your body. That is classified as an organ too. And I can tell you, once I started seeing results, my A1C and my cholesterol are at record lows for me. My A1C is below 7 for the first time ever. My cholesterol, which routinely
and I have
lives,
his lab works. Yeah, I have. It's amazing. Yes.
Yeah. My cholesterol, which
Congratulations.
routinely lives between 234 and 250, 191. I'm also a type 2 diabetic, and I have a sweet tooth that would kill a horse. Thanks, Mom. Once they diagnosed me, yeah, I'm sorry. I love my mom, and she's gone now. The thing with the type 2 diabetes is my vitamin D level. It's been an uphill struggle with that since they diagnosed me as a type 2 diabetic. I was up to sleeping 12 to 18 hours a day, every day. I went to the neurologist about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Said, you had your vitamin D level checked? No, not that I know of. Folks, my vitamin D level was 8. 8. Anything below 30 is a red flag. Started taking Cardiomiracle, and I haven't changed how I do or do not exercise, what I do or do not eat, or sleep, or anything else. Well, I mean, I sleep less now, but everything is so much better. And my vitamin D level is 49. And I can prove it because Miss Lisa
See, Josh,
has...
there's another one. Yeah, you gave me this is what is so exciting. I mean, Josh knows this.
Yeah.
Almost every person that starts on Cardiomiracle, their vitamin D level is improved on some level. You know, we did a small study really looking at the vitamin D level of individuals, and the vitamin D level is so critically important to our overall health and our neurological system, and it's often overlooked. And a lot of the synthetic vitamin Ds that people are taking are not working. So, Josh, here's another one. Isn't this exciting?
It's so exciting, and I love the specifics is what I love most.
Yes.
Is like people do say that just in general they feel healthier or they feel more vibrant or they feel like they want to go, but the specifics of you and your wife both feeling like, you know, Popeye when he pops the spinach and he's all, you know, and his arms start popping And
I know.
you talking about your vitamin D levels, like those vitamin D, I am convinced is the foundation, and it really elevates everything in your system, in your cardiovascular system, in your endocrine system. It's like the link, it's an unbelievable thing. So thank you for keeping such great tabs on all of this, Mark, and
Yes.
sharing with us your journey from, A to Z, and for being a product of the product, man. It's unbelievable. I'm so happy that this has been able to help you so much.
Thank you. I do have just one more thing to say, and this is Josh. This is
Yes.
for you and John Hewlett. And I've only had to say this one other time in my life, and that's when I was in Afghanistan. Thank you for saving my life. And I don't say that lightly. It's not a jape, a jest, joke, or a gag. I have a functioning brain and a working mind because of Cardio Miracle. No jokes, no gags, no put-ons. Straight up. It's all we're talking about is 100% proper nutrition for the brain, and for the whole body. As you get older, your body slows down, your mind slows down. Lisa, you asked me earlier how the vacation was. I was cleaning stuff out of the truck when we got back, right? And this shows. So I reached down, and there's this bag. There was a candy bag. And I just glanced at it at first, and I would swear that it said butterscotch onions. It was butterscotch buttons. But your mind slows down just a tiny little bit, Take the Cardio Miracle. We're not talking about the cure for the ages. We're talking about 100% nutrition for the human body. You have to meet your body, your brain, your organs halfway. You do. But your body will do the and I know we're out of time and maybe even over, but I wanted to say all those things.
No, this has been
say thank you.
No, thank you, Mark. I mean, truly having the courage to share this with the world and really be as vulnerable as you have been with your challenges, and then where you are right now. We cannot thank you enough, because I know that, what did Jesus Christ use? He used stories, and he used parables, and he used, that to be able to share with people. So thank you again for sharing your story. I know this isn't the last we're going to see and hear and continue to walk with you. And thank you for walking with us on our journey with Cardio Miracle to help really heal the hearts of mankind, which is John Hewlett's ultimate goal.
Yep.
So God bless you, brother. Thank you so much, Josh. And until next time, happy trails.
Happy trails.